Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. Topping our world lead today, some remarkable insight into President Obama's worldview coming from a new article by Jeffrey Goldberg in The Atlantic magazine. It's titled The Obama Doctrine. Let's talk about it with Jeffrey Goldberg. Jeff, thanks for joining us. One of the things that struck me most about this very long and brilliant article was the president's view of his 2013 decision that surprised everyone, including his Secretary of State and others, not to strike Syria even after he declared that the use of chemical weapons by President Assad was a red line for the United States and would prompt an attack. He says in your article, quote, "I'm very proud of this moment, the fact that I was able to pull back from the immediate pressures and think through in my own mind what was in America's interest, not only with respect to Syria, but with respect to our democracy, was as tough a decision as I've made, and I believe ultimately it was the right decision to make." Obviously, critics, including some from within the Obama administration, point to this as not his greatest success, but his greatest failure.
Right. And so that's why I wanted to go at it, because I thought it was a hinge moment in his presidency. And, you know, what he explained to me is as follows. You know, he was following what he calls the Washington playbook, which is you use military force if somebody violates your demands or your wishes. And he realized that at a certain point in that process, even though he laid down that red line, that he didn't want to go down what he saw as a very slippery slope toward total engagement in Syria. And so at the last moment, on August 30th of 2013, he decided that, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do what some of my predecessors might have done. I'm going to find another way to get out of this jam. And it's been obviously the source of a great deal of criticism from inside Washington and obviously from allies in the Middle East and in Europe since then.
And obviously, the decision looked questionable then, and now with the rise of ISIS and the complete deterioration of the country of Syria, hundreds of thousands of lives lost, millions of refugees, ISIS establishing a caliphate, perhaps it looks even worse. Does the president in any way think that that decision may have helped pave the way to the rise of ISIS?
No, he doesn't. And to be fair, I think it's a bit of a leap to think that a 2 or 3 days of missile strikes at Assad regime targets would have stopped everything that subsequently happened from happening. What he does think, and I think this is true, is that because of a deal that he arranged with Vladimir Putin a couple of weeks after this, the chemical weapons, or most of the chemical weapons, did come out of Syria. And so he feels as if he solved the chemical weapons problem in Syria without going to war, which of course is the opposite of what happened to his predecessor, who went to war in Iraq to remove chemical weapons that no longer existed by the time he got there. So he feels good about that decision, and he also feels like you can play this counterfactual game and guess about what could have happened if he had done X, Y, or Z, but he finds those exercises sort of pointless.
You have an anecdote in the article that was extremely interesting. The president would often compare the role and rise of ISIS to a scene in the Batman movie, The Dark Knight, where all the leaders of all the gangs in Gotham are meeting and talking about their territories. Mr. Obama said, quote, "The Joker comes in and lights the whole city on fire. ISIL is the Joker. It has the capacity to set the whole region on fire. That's why we have to fight it." But Jeffrey, it doesn't seem like the strategy to fight ISIL or ISIS has been that effective.
Well, you know, I'm not here to defend or lambast the administration. I would say that he certainly has raised ISIS to a top-tier national security threat, unlike the Assad regime, which we were just talking about, right? He does not consider the Assad regime a direct national security threat to the United States. And, you know, I think the administration would argue that they are grinding away at the problem. They have not succeeded in building a Sunni army, a Sunni Arab army that will take on ISIS, but they are using a lot of the tools at their disposal, including special forces, special operators, and drone strikes and the like, to degrade ISIS. It's not going as fast as they would like, but one of the things that I did learn is that before he leaves office, he very much wants to see the leadership of that organization destroyed. So that has been a request or an order to his national security apparatus to get that done, so his successor doesn't have to deal with at least a powerful ISIS.
Jeffrey Goldberg, thanks so much. The article is The Obama Doctrine. It's in the new issue of The Atlantic. The Obama Doctrine, How He Shaped the World. Jeffrey Goldberg, thank you so much.
Thank you.